DIY.
Y'all ever see that meme of Pharrell? It's people's theories that Pharrell has been here for like hundreds of years, like he's some kind of vampire. He don't help that by giving out the amount of wisdom that he gives. He's like a music producer Yoda. Well, here's Pharrell talking about his advice for musicians, how we should treat our creative ideas because we're borrowing them. Pharrell, what do you mean by that?
Find yourself in a situation, looking at the cameras for this one, you find yourself in a situation which is 65 to 75% of the time when you're in a compromised contract. Don't stop making music. Like, that's going to help you.
Just to give this a little bit of context, when musicians or artists or whoever feel like they're in a contract that they feel like is compromising the work that they're creating, his advice is don't stop creating. A lot of times we don't get music from our favorite artists because they're waiting until the dust settles from whatever contract negotiations are happening behind the scenes or as a protest to the label. Pharrell is saying, look,
don't do that. What you do is make the music, and there is a lawyer that will come and help you to unlock all of verbal
acrobats.
Yeah, all of that, all of the verbal labyrinth that you are in, there is a way out of it.
I like that. Don't think that you're going to war and hurting someone else, the label or some business corporate entity, by depriving yourself of the experience of creating in the name of rebellion against those who have done you dirty within business. When we let the business, and I know it's easier said than done, but when we let the business deplete our energy so much that we stop creating, that's only hurting us. So his advice is to continue to keep going. But why do you say that, Pharrell?
There was a way into it. There's a way out of it. Make the music. Don't stop making music. Don't think that you're going to hold off. Because let me explain something to you. Creativity is not coming out of you. Creativity is like the work of the universe. Okay. The universe, that's why they call them universities. The universe is a library. I was just telling somebody this yesterday. All we doing is checking ideas out.
Woo! There's so many artists and producers, especially producers, who pride themselves on their originality. They pride themselves on their ability to create an idea that nobody else has thought about. They can't stand people who borrow from sources, as if these ideas are just being gifted to them. It's just teleporting inside their brain and they're like, oh, another original idea. Pharrell's theory is that these ideas are traveling from the universe. And every time that we take a creative idea, it is metaphorically us taking a book in that library and choosing to use it in that moment. It's a crazy way to look at it.
We can pretend that we being possessive. It was here before us, it's going to be here after us. We just checking ideas out, right? And what you would have checked out on one day might not be what you would check out on the next day. So don't not make the music.
I feel that in my soul. These ideas that we think are just because we're so amazing. We spent so much time and so many years to be this lucky, and we're just so unique. And it really puts to test that idea, and it helps you to recognize that, look, these are moments that are not owed to us, but they're given to us. And it's up to us whether or not we're going to do something with them. And Pharrell's advice is please do not allow outside forces. I think the bigger picture here is letting external forces, discouraging things on the outside, strip you from that opportunity to check out that idea that has been given to you in its own unique way and presentation on just this day. There's certain beats that I listen to that I've made that I'm like, what was I going through in order to make something like that? I can have all the stems sitting in front of me. I can have the keys be laid out in the piano roll. I can look at it and try to study how to emulate it. It will never feel exactly the way that that beat feels when I listen to it in playback. In my opinion, that's because of what Pharrell alludes to, in that these are moments that are given to you. He looking at me real intense. These are moments that are given to you, and you are met with a proposal. Are you going to do something with it? Or are you going to allow your stubbornness or external forces to not even try it out? Because if you don't, I feel like that's when ideas get quote unquote borrowed. That's when somebody else checks that book out. That's a bar.
Well, you got a library card that works, you use that card every day.
Wow.
Leave it to Pharrell, man. Pharrell ain't never disappointed with that. Have you ever had an idea where you just heard this beat in your head? or you heard this music in a certain way and you're like, man, I would do the drums like this, piano would be like this, and then it would have a transition into something like this. And then you just lay it out in your brain as just an idea on paper, and you don't do anything with it except for pocket it. You don't even take a voice note. And then let's say 2 or 3 weeks later, that idea just appears and you're like, fam, that's exactly what I was gonna do. It's not fair. That to me goes back to this library example of you had an opportunity to check that book out that day. You chose to put it back. Someone else saw the value in that same book and chose to do something with it right in that moment. It shows 2 things. One, it shows that you need to stop sleeping on the ideas that you have been gifted with. Hello. And 2, it shows you the abundance of this library of ideas. He didn't say it's a small bookstore, local bookstore. He said it's a library of ideas, which to me suggests that there are more ideas to be suggested to you. I know sometimes ideas come to us in some dumbass moments, on the toilet when you can't do nothing with it, at work when you still got 4 hours left, but there's always something that you can do with it. If your job lets you get bathroom breaks, I know when I was at Quiznos, we got bathroom breaks. And when we did, I took my phone in there and I don't care how dirty it sounds. I was in that bathroom and they thought I was in there Putin. I was in there beatboxing. I don't care what they thought of me. I had to get this idea somewhere so that I can check that book out back when I got back home. I had to at least reserve the idea. Making beatbox sounds in the bathroom is crazy. That's actually insane. What are you doing in there? Oh man, just coming up with ideas. That sounds dirty. Smoke said, sometimes I woke up and brought a beat from the dream world. You ever come up with an idea that you don't have the musicianship to play? That's the worst. Big man, I don't think you have the facilities, big man. I don't. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from playing that one key at a time, no. It'll be sound like a crazy orchestra in my head. And I'm like, head, you know I can't play that shit. Why are you giving this to me? Your brain is on Hans Zimmerman. Your fingers are on. Goonie said, I never find the sounds I'm hearing in my head for the melodies. That's the worst. That's the worst. I got a very obsessive personality. If I can't find the one singular sound that's the lead, that should have stopped me from doing the rest of the idea. And I have to stop doing that.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
If I can't find the specific string that I hear in my head, I'll stop an entire idea. I have to stop myself from doing that because I'll derail an entire idea that's like, bro, you don't have to get perfect sounds. Just get some sounds. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Stop being greedy. Peace.